STEPS program, Module 1. In this module, we will describe the rationale and the foundation for the STEPS program. The speech-language pathologist's role in the school has changed dramatically. We are not speech teachers. We are not speech therapists. We are more than speech-language pathologists. We are educational speech-language pathologists. ASHA provides a summary of our changing role in this handout. As educational speech-language pathologists, we must make a paradigm shift from speech correctionist to professional resource. In other words, we won't just be pulling out students and working our magic with them in our separate rooms. We have valuable information to share with the educational staff, which can help many students, not just the students on our caseload. We are moving from a medical model to an educational model. In other words, we will narrow our focus from seeing all speech-language impairments to seeing those which impact educational performance. We will have to look beyond caseload and see the supporting services that we provide. Our eligibility will be based not only on standardized test scores, but also performance reviews of classroom work. We won't be providing isolated services, but will be working as a member of a team to improve educational performance. To know how the students are doing educationally, we will need to be aware of what's going on in the classroom. Ideally, we need to spend part of our time in the classroom. We won't be focusing on specific skills which do not apply to what the student is working on in the classroom, but will look at goals through the context of the classroom. We won't just be working on discrete skills identified on a standardized test, but broad strategies that lead to academic success. Educational speech-language pathologists work across all levels or ages and serve a range of disorders. We've been doing that for years. We also must ensure educational relevance of our services. We have a lot to offer to the overall curriculum. We need to understand the relationship of language to the curriculum and its relationship to literacy. Our medical model has always assessed and intervened. We are great at compliance. Speech-language pathologists are known for their attention to detail and following the rules. But have we thought much about prevention in the schools, identifying students early before they failed? We have always designed individualized programs for each student on our caseload, but have we thought about how we can assist with the educational programs such as reading and math? We have always collected data on individual student performances, but have we thought about how we can look at school data through a language lens? We have a lot to offer. We have always advocated for our students in eligibility and IEP meetings, but we can play a bigger role in advocating for all students. Why are they failing? How can language delays impact all areas of school performance? We've known our role with supervision and mentoring other SLPs, but have we thought about mentoring teachers and listening and learning from them? We are lifelong learners, and to make this paradigm shift, we are going to have to learn more. The State Department is supporting you by providing trainings on educational relevance, comprehensive language assessment and intervention, service delivery options, and the STEPS program. Have we really explored all aspects of collaboration? It's more than writing an IEP and having everyone sign off on it, or submitting an evaluation report by briefly explaining the results and making recommendations without input from others, especially those who know the student better than us. We have so many roles to play with universities and the communities and families and students, but only so much time in our work week. We know that prevention works, and it is now part of our scope of practice. We no longer wait for a student to fail before we begin assisting them. And this can be done before they are identified as having a disability requiring an IEP, with all of its mandates and regulations. Students in the general education setting can be assisted through MTSS, or multi-tiered system of supports. The goal of MTSS is academic achievement for all students through early intervention and prevention. This school-wide MTSS system is data-driven and utilizes evidence-based practices. MTSS, or Multi-Tiered System of Supports, is an umbrella for all supports provided to students, including special education, Title I, RTI, and even the STEPS program. MTSS is a school-wide system which looks at how to adapt the curriculum and support all students so that they can learn to the best of their ability. As we take up our role as educational speech-language pathologists, we'll become an integral part of the big MTSS. Our role would be more than special education. Remember that the MTSS, or big MTSS, encompasses the STEPS program. What you do with the students who have communication disorders can definitely impact academic, social, emotional, and behavioral development. MTSS and the STEPS program focus on early intervention and prevention. Addressing language issues will improve overall school performance. However, we do not wait until the child fails before we get involved. The STEPS program and special education are under the umbrella of MTSS. However, special education paperwork, regulations, and so forth do not apply. No IEPs, no eligibility requirements for the STEPS program, no makeup therapy, only written parent permission and documentation. It should be noted, however, that children fall under the same protection of Policy 2419 as do students who are suspected of possibly having a disability and are being referred to the SAT. Should a student be referred for special education, the STEPS program documentation is very useful in assessment and writing goals. Based on the MTSS model, the STEPS program can be used with students who would benefit from early intervention or prevention strategies prior to being identified under speech-language impaired eligibility criteria. The STEPS program is also beneficial to students whose speech or language impairments do not adversely impact educational performance. Parents play a critical role in all aspects of the STEPS program. In the initial stages, when students are identified, the SLP will consult with the parents regarding their child's speech or language issue and provide appropriate materials and strategies for home intervention. Parents become partners in providing intervention, as well as the teachers. The SLP's professional judgment will determine which students are good candidates for the STEPS program and how best to meet their needs. Of course, professional judgment is data-driven. You may have some concerns about implementing this program. First, many people say if I see students without an IEP, I will be given more schools. Special education directors have received training on the STEPS program and the importance of considering the STEPS caseload as well as the regular caseload. Time is a factor. However, remember, our schedules will look different in the future as we move toward educational relevance. Some counties are having work days to create and share the STEPS program packets. We juggle a lot of things. Just looking at our expanding role can be overwhelming. Let's talk about your schedule for a moment. When we do face-to-face trainings, we often use this pie chart activity to help us look at what we do now. There is a handout that you can download in order to do this on your own. But whether you choose to do it or not, let's look at your time as a pie chart. And you would designate each category with a different color or design to indicate how much of your time is spent doing certain things. And then look at your plates. Are they overflowing? Are there more activities that you'd like to do but you don't have time to do? What takes the most of your time? How much is direct services or pull out, and how much do you do in the classroom? How much time is spent in meetings or consulting with teachers? How much time do you spend on paperwork, IEPs, progress notes, Medicaid billing? What else do you do that we've not included? Don't forget though, as you evolve into an educational speech-language pathologist, your schedule will look very different. Your caseload will change, and there should be more time. We know you can't add any more to your plate. And the best thing to do is for us to learn to work smarter. Right now, we are serving students with IEPs and our plates are full. As we move toward educational relevance, we are required to examine the three-pronged test of eligibility. Some of the students on our caseload will no longer qualify for special education services because their communication disorder does not adversely impact their educational performance. What about those students? We see the impairment, but it's not educationally relevant. That's where a multi-tiered pre-referral early intervention program can be very helpful. Steps Up to Speech was first introduced to special ed directors in 2012. Statements about Steps Up to Speech have appeared in all the guidance documents, with the last being in 2015. One of the most important points made was traditional approaches to speech therapy often results in students being enrolled in programs for long periods of time without making significant progress. SLPs must dedicate significant time and maintain burdensome paperwork to navigate the special education process. A multi-tiered or multi-leveled model allows SLPs to provide speech-language intervention within the general education environment with the educator, parent, and the student prior to referral for special education. How do you see school-based pre-referral or early intervention services? Do you see it as a speech club? Do you want it to be more defined? How prescriptive do you think it should be? We have provided training in several counties, and we have found that counties and schools differ in how they see it. While our pre-referral assistance, or STEPS, is not strictly an MTSS program, remember it falls under the umbrella of MTSS, we can apply the principles, the guiding principles for MTSS to what we do because it's tried and true and based on research. Most counties have a process for screening students for communication disorders, and they follow up or recheck the students if there was a concern. In the STEPS program, you would provide different levels of high-quality, evidence-based instruction based on the student's needs, and you would determine those needs based on progress monitoring and data. According to the ASHA Code of Ethics, we must obtain informed consent, and we should maintain timely records for any service that is provided. Our STEPS program should have an ethical foundation. Parent notification and written permission makes ethical sense, and it protects you. We know the importance of documentation. We use it to determine how best to help our students and whether we're doing the right thing for them. How you document your services is a matter of personal preference. However, it must include a date, the length of service, and what was done. Some people tally their results every session. Others estimate progress and assess periodically. Because this is a general education initiative, we are not tied to Medicaid billing requirements or IEP constraints. However, we are ethically bound to document our services. Please note that the following pages of references were utilized in the development of all 4 modules that you are going to see.